I like that. Irwine Clare, broadcaster, also the preeminent advocate for Caribbean unity in New York, and also the voice that and the person that folks go to when they're talking for immigration issues. Irwine, it's good to reconnect with you. I love your voice of reason. As my guest in studio, Farai Messiah said a moment ago, he said, I go and I Google in Jamaicans national deported and boycott, and you only get things coming out of Jamaica. While there is a clear deficiency from the Trinidad and Tobago side, and it has to be corrected, and I hope that folks listening this morning will move to correct it and bring counter arguments or facts, if that is the case, to the argument. In your position, are you seeing the other organizations like yourself, or does your organization see it necessary for you to walk in with your disposition and put some of these things right?
Well, you see,
on social media,
again,
I mean.
Yeah. You see, again here, when I look at even the social media piece, looking at the group that I deal with, I don't see a lot of attention being given to it at the level which we see the vitriol in other quarters. And there's also silence here too. But I'm quite certain that through the advisory board representation, I'm no longer part of that anymore, but an active member in the diaspora, that in our upcoming meetings, this will be something that will be discussed. The Minister of Foreign Affairs is scheduled here in New York next week, and I'm quite certain that community leaders will bring this to attention and voice and chip in with their commentary. But I'm quite certain that whatever it will be a matter speaking where it is that we deal with the situation in a manner speaking that is respectful for all our people, because we live in one bowl here in the diaspora. You may live in Trinidad, you may live in Jamaica. Right here in Brooklyn, we're all one.
I hear that. I've got to spend the last couple of minutes I have with my guest, Farai Messiah. But before you leave, Irwine, I did mention that you are the founder of Jamaican Bickle. In the 90 seconds I have, give me a quick, give our listeners a quick synopsis as to what that is about, what it does to bring the region together, and its purpose.
For the past 22 years, we've been assisting our athletes at the Penolays, and over the past 6 or so years, we welcome teams from Trinidad, Grenada, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This year, we welcome Guyana. We provide meals, accommodation, help with transportation, and the likes. We make our athletes feel at home when they're here in Pennsylvania, so that they can go out on the track and beat Goliath, and which we do every year. So I welcome our teams from Trinidad this year, though lesser than last year, but we welcome anyway. We look forward to hosting them in Philadelphia in the next 2 weeks. And so we say to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, Team Jamaica Bickle, yes, but host to all our Caribbean nationals, because this is our way of saying it's one Caribbean, not just verbally, but by doing it. And we are very proud of that achievement.
The years you've been doing it have not in any way diminished your enthusiasm for what you do. Irwine Clare, my friend, we will be talking again very soon. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me this Sunday morning.
And thank you very much to you and your studio guests and to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Looking forward to seeing you guys soon. I await my invitation, sir.
I think I lost his connection. Did I lose it? Owen, you know that invitation is always there. We'll talk more about that. Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you much, my
Take care of yourself. It's currently 10 minutes away from the top of the hour. I would have our listeners know that we did make overtures to Mr. Canute James, who is a former director of the Caribbean Institute of Media and Communications in Jamaica. He had a calling to something else. He did inform us he would attempt to make it possible. We were not able to do that. I want to come back to my guest in studio. You are inside Brunch on 107.7. I am Rennie Bishop. We are talking about the fallout of the Jamaicans who were denied entry by immigration. At the end of the day, Farah, I come back to you. Yeah. At the end of the day here, if we can do a couple of things to make this situation less divisive when it develops. I do want to ask something you mentioned that I think is a problem, because on the one hand, the Caribbean courts ruled that the Immigration Act says once you're denied entry, you are the responsibility of the airline.
Correct.
Of the craft that brought you here.
Correct.
You are saying that there was a ruling that said once the state intervened, which means they are the ones denying the entry, it is their responsibility. Make clear to me, is that what the court said?
In that particular case, we did what you call habeas corpus. So it compelled the detainee, meaning the chief immigration officer, to bring the persons before the court. All right. So that was the application before the court. At the application, because it's an equitable court, meaning even if things are not in the act, in the legal law, judges are allowed that privilege because they under the laws of equity, they can go beyond what is on paper and pen. All right. So yes, the act said that once the persons came in, they are now they have to go under the care and control of the airline for them to go back. These circumstances, they were children. I think they were about 6 children. And I say the children were under the age of 10. They were being held at Piaco Airport. There's no bed for them to sleep on.
So there was a qualifying rule there. If they're underage.
No, there's no qualifying rule. It's the court. The court came in and said, here, what? If it is that the circumstances, as how I have put it before the
those
court,
circumstances
exist,
yes.
then make sure you put these people in proper accommodation.
Here's the reason I'm asking you to be categorically clear about this. Because if you have where the airline is saying, well, according to the court ruling, they're not saying that. I'm just putting up the situation where they say, well, according to the last court ruling, it's the state responsible. The state saying, no, according to immigration law, it's the airline responsibility. I'm trying to find out from you categorically whose responsibility, save for the case where there are minors, whose responsibility
the airline.
is it?
It's the airline's responsibility. The airline bears the cost. But obviously, if things are making national and international headlines,
But everything
it is in the interest of the state to become involved.
It is in the interest of right.
It wouldn't affect just the airline. And I think the airline is a state airline. Caribbean Airlines is a state
It is
airline.
a state airline,
So
yes.
even with the Jamaicans, it would have been in the interest of the Ministry of Trade or the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to get hands on, get their people down there and say, watch, if indeed this thing is going on. Because these things escalate quite quickly, especially if persons have their smartphone. They can take a picture of their circumstances and send it up on social or video, you know, and that could obviously affect our economy.
That is one of the reasons why I always ask folks to exercise caution, because you can pick up, as you said, a phone and take a snapshot. It is always a snapshot of a moment, which may not usually would not tell the entire story. But just that we're clear, because like I said, this is important that we understand if we are moving to correct some of the things you say we should in the nation's interest, i.e. how we treat those who refuse and how we treat those who overstay their time and stuff like that. I just want to be clear in this instance that it is still the responsibility of the carrier airline once they have been denied by immigration.
Correct.
There's another area you mentioned earlier I want to go back to. This area dealt with the ruling of the Caribbean Court of Appeal that said that they were not given written explanation as to why they were denied. You said they should be done. Is Trinidad and Tobago exclusive here, or is it across the region, to the best of your knowledge, that folks don't get a written explanation?
No, in my experience, my experience is solely for Trinidad in terms of our jurisdiction.
Okay.
But in our jurisdiction, they don't give written reasons unless you go to the court, and the judge compels them to give their rationale. All right? Because when you go to the court, you actually bring the chief immigration officer to court. And the judge will ask them, why did you make your decision? What procedures did you follow?
To the best of your knowledge, anywhere in the world does it obtain that you were given a written explanation? Because I have not heard of such a situation.
No, in England
States.
you do.
In England you do.
Yes, you get your decisions in writing. All right? And you obviously you give the decision to your attorney, and if the attorney feels there is a loophole in the decision-making process, they can appeal it. But it is a due process of law.
Understood, but sometimes on a Sunday morning I'm slow, so work with me here.
Yes.
So you get to Heathrow.
Yes.
And immigration look at your stuff and they go like, no, you have not satisfied us that you should be given entry.
We have to differentiate between a rejection and a deportation.
I wasn't talking deportation. I was talking about a denial in this case, right?
If you are rejected, first and foremost, they're supposed to tell the persons who are rejected, they have the right to appeal. They don't.
I see.
All right? And the act says that you must appeal forthwith, to the extent that, say, for example, the scenario that I gave you when I was representing some Jewish persons from Canada. We appealed within 24 hours. But the immigration officers, the chief immigration officer was arguing in the court that it was not forthwith. Meaning, as soon as they got served in Piarco with the rejection order, they were to tell the immigration officer that I am not in agreement with it and I want to appeal.
At that point, are they entitled? At that point, or before, are they entitled to a call to an attorney and or their consulate?
They're supposed to be entitled to a call to their attorney because they called me immediately. But in any event, what I'm saying with regards to they advising persons as to their legal rights in our jurisdiction, they don't. They don't. In some instances, there's not even interpreters in Piarco Airport to say somebody comes from say Greece and they speak Greek. There's no one there. I tell an instance where I was in IDC and they were going to conduct a special inquiry and they wanted to bring a security officer, not an immigration officer, a security officer who knew how to speak Spanish to interpret for one of my clients. And I was like, no, you have to get a proper interpreter. Or I suppose, he's not even on the immigration staff. He works with the security company, and they say, all right, he knows a little Spanish, he could interpret for him.
Well, fortunately, for the purposes of the CSME, the most we don't have to worry about that too much right now.
It's very ad hoc, and we really need to put systems in place and probably even persons in place, because even when you're coming through the airport, I think we need to be culturally aware of our brothers and sisters.
I like the observations.
For example, immigration officers tend to think Jamaicans are aggressive. All right? But me personally,
I'm surprised that you made such a sweeping statement.
No, it is. Because really? I've been there on countless occasions, and most of the time it's either Jamaican or Guyanese.
Is it not true to say some immigration officers?
A lot of immigration officers. And because when they ask them questions and they respond in their dialect, it's shorthand, it's not fluent, it's not the Queen's English, and it's probably not something that they are accustomed to hearing. So having someone at the airport who understands the Jamaican culture and understands the local parlance of Jamaica could assist in the not just with Jamaica, but obviously Guyanese and persons who may speak a little different.
It is not a bias against, just a misunderstanding of the culture, the manner,
yes, but it's a misunderstanding that sometimes results in they not being allowed entry into our jurisdiction. Because if it is I am talking to you and I think you are being rude to me and I have the authority to, in my hands to say whether you are entered or not, and you are speaking to me in a manner which I think is, because literally I tell clients when you're coming in, be very polite, try and speak a little slower. I tell you, it's basic things I have to be advising clients on in terms of entering our jurisdiction. These things are, I suppose we really need to increase our
cultural sensitivity, at least.
Correct.
Farai Masai, again, I thank you for taking the time to come in here this morning. You do a number of things: international trade, intellectual property, property law, property damage. You also do family court, but more importantly, for the purpose of our discussion this morning, immigration is what you also do. I can only thank you for taking the time to come in.
And thank you for your invitation.
All right, the clarity is what we always seek to bring to our listeners. You have yourself a wonderful day, and thank you so much for taking the time.